Hi, I'm Tracy Pierce. Thanks for joining me for this Live with the Animals video series. So this video series was born out of what was happening here in the United States in March of 2020. You know, when the coronavirus started to make its presence really well known, different states were going into different levels of shelter in place, lockdown, quarantine kind of orders. And I just became really curious what the animals thought about all of this. You know, from a human perspective, this all seemed very strange and crazy and what's going on. And I really wondered what the animals thought about it. So here we are several months later, and there's still lots of animals coming forward that want to share their wisdom with us. And so this is my way of honoring their wisdom and letting them share their wisdom with the world. All right, so today we have a very special guest. We have a praying mantis. Let me pull up this picture. All right, so this picture was taken up about a year ago. I have been really curious what this praying mantis thinks about, what it, you know, the way it lives its life and stuff. And this praying mantis, this particular praying mantis the picture is taken of, is probably not actually still alive, but we're going to tune in and see what it wants to share from beyond the grave, or perhaps it will connect us into a living praying mantis today. All right, so if you're joining me live and you have questions for this praying mantis, if you're on Zoom, click on the bottom bar there. There should be a chat button. Just type your message, your question for the praying mantis in there. And if you're joining me on Facebook, just type your question into the comments. So I'm just going to get quiet here and start tuning into this praying mantis. So what comes forward first is there is a delicateness I feel coming forward. It's almost like a bit of a sense of humor as well. Like when I took this picture, I felt like this praying mantis was looking right at me, kind of smiling, making a face. You can probably get that impression from the picture. So this particular, let's call it animal soul, is showing me that it's no longer in this physical body. There is something else that it's doing right now. Do you want to be more specific? Do you want to tell us what you're doing right now? Well, what it's showing me is it's showing me a flying insect and saying, well, you're really more interested in the praying mantis side of things. So let's stay with that. Yeah, it's showing it has evolved to a different kind of insect that it's being incarnated as right now. Okay. So it's showing me its life as this praying mantis, and again, I'm feeling the lightness and the delicateness, like it's kind of pointing to its, like the tips of its legs, how very delicate that is. There's some sense of like really enjoying being a praying mantis in that particular incarnation. Was there anything in particular that you really liked about being a praying mantis? There's something very unique about them, it says. You know, when humans see us, like they're kind of like, oh, wow. And you don't get that, it says, with so many other insects. It's more like they want to smash the insects, but with us, there's like a curiosity that gets piqued. And so what this praying mantis is saying now is showing like a big part of the message that I bring as a praying mantis is about this delicateness and how you don't have to force your way through life. There is a way of gently kind of moving here and there where, where I'm drawn to go, but without there needing to be any kind of like forceful imprint or anything like that. Yeah, people who could maybe use more praying mantis energy in their lives are people who could really do with more lightness. That people who maybe are walking around very heavily, showing like weight, kind of weighing somebody down. Um, if you're feeling weighted down in life, like to tune in to the praying mantis. So it's showing me a butterfly as well, showing how there is a difference. It's showing between, like a lot of people think of winged or butterfly when they think of this lightness, but they really fly. And what the praying mantis is showing is it spends more time on the ground than butterflies do. And there's a way of just very gently walking across the earth or your path that you're coming across. So it's also showing the praying mantis being very kind of attuned. Can you show me again what you're being attuned to? It almost feels like a divine kind of thing. It's just showing me this kind of shiny central something. I don't know, maybe it's like an animal third eye. That's where it's kind of showing it to me, is in what might be considered the third eye area of this praying mantis. It says we're very connected to the divine. It's showing there's a particular sound that it makes that is connected to the divine. It's saying it's kind of like a cricket chirping, but it's different. Um, is there more you want to say about that sound or? Okay, so the praying mantis is saying, I'm not advocating like catching a praying mantis and catching it inside, but if you have the opportunity to observe them, you might be lucky enough to hear the sounds. It's really encouraging anybody who comes across a praying mantis to take the time. It's almost like it's showing sort of like meditating with the praying mantis, like taking the time to sit and feel the energy, the delicateness of the praying mantis. Is there more to it than that? No, sometimes it is quite simple. It really is just about being still. So it's showing that one of the ways that it hides from predators is to be very, very still. It has this camouflage thing going on, that it can sit on certain plants and go completely unnoticed. That's another lesson, a good lesson to learn from praying mantis, is when it's important to use your camouflage to blend in versus when it's time to stand out. So it's showing like this difference between, here it's standing on this gray deck where it really stands out, and wow, you look and you see, wow, what's this crazy weird looking kind of insect thing? Like, this was the time for me to be showing off my big self. But at other times, I need to be camouflaged, I need to be hiding, I need to be very, very still. There's something about the stillness too, it feels like we can learn from the praying mantis. Yeah, the praying mantis starts to land this very, very still kind of space and energy, and it's showing how it can sit in a place where it needs to be camouflaged. It can sit for a very long, long time and be still. But then at a moment's notice, it can get up and move along to the next thing. There's a lot of value, it says, in being able to move from one state to another kind of quickly. Is there a way that you feel like we could become more attuned to your stillness or stillness in general? Well, meditation is the obvious answer, is what the praying mantis said. But, like people who maybe aren't into meditation, but are more into nature, the praying mantis is saying really spending time with these different kinds of animals outside in their natural environment. And it's not about catching them. It's reiterating, like, it's really not about capturing the animals, but observing them in their natural state. Okay, is there more that you want to tell us about either stillness or how we might be able to feel the praying mantis kind of energy in us, or how we could benefit from that? Or anything else you want to share, really. So it's also showing me it can be, the praying mantis can be a helpful animal for people who are feeling alone. And the praying mantis says, as humans, as mammals, your nervous systems work differently, and humans need contact with other humans generally, just as a nervous system kind of regulation, or you guys need each other. Seeing it's not the same for us, like praying mantises, manti. um, this one is saying we're generally quite independent and alone kind of animals or insects. And if you're feeling very alone and you really want, it's not that. Can you show me that again? I think that maybe I'm, show again, please. So it's showing there can be a lot of benefit for humans spending time alone. It's like, I'm not necessarily advocating for years and years, unless you're, on a path to being a sage and want to sit in a cave and meditate for years on end. He's like, that's not everybody's path. But some people become so, I hear the word codependent. So instead of like equal distribution of the responsibility kind of thing, there's like a grasping onto other people. For people who need to establish more independence, or to feel what it's like to stand on your own 2 feet, the praying mantis is saying, I'm another animal that can be really good to tune into. Because, like, look how strange I am. I'm not afraid to be out and showing off my very strange physique and the strange things I do. I feel like I'm a very independent kind of creature. And for people who need that kind of independence and learning to stand on their own, tuning into me and feeling and watching how I do things can be important, can be educational. Is there anything else you want to say about that, or? I'm checking for any questions you might have for our little praying mantis friend here. I'm not seeing any come through right now. So I wonder, my praying mantis friend, is there more you want to share with us today about what your life is like, or wisdom of the praying mantis? Anything else you might like to tell us today? Well, it's kind of giving me my own personal advice around how it could be beneficial for me to tune into the praying mantis and this standing on my own feet kind of thing, but delicately. Again, it's showing how standing on your own 2 feet doesn't have to be like an elephant or a rhino or some kind of big animal planted in the ground somewhere. Again, it's pointing to the ends of its legs and the delicateness with which, like, I'm standing on my own, but it doesn't have to be harsh or forceful or like overtaking somebody or something else. Like, there's a way of standing in your own power without needing to wipe the competition or wipe everything else out, is what it's showing. It's very interesting. All right, well, thank you so much, our praying mantis friend, for sharing your wisdom with us here today. That was incredibly interesting. Always interested to hear what our animal friends, what wisdom they like to share with us. So thanks so much for joining us here today. And if you've missed any of the other interviews with animals, go ahead and hop on over to my YouTube channel. I've recorded almost all of the interviews I've done. So if you're interested to see what a ladybug or a red-tailed hawk or a snake thinks, just hop on over. I've got lots of conversations with different kinds of animals. Check them out. So I'll be doing this for, I don't know, the foreseeable future. I hope you'll join us again sometime. And until then, take care and be well.